Before we get into 5.2, factoring is a really important part of your success as we move forward in Chapter 5. We need you to be able to recognize really quickly that factoring is an option and be able to navigate that factoring quickly. So each of us comes with different algebraic backgrounds, but one of the core things that you're going to need for success, not only right here, but also in future math classes, is the ability to not be daunted by the factoring and be able to get it in a reasonable amount of time. So for example, I'm going to go through one page of this factoring review that's here. And you would recommend that if you had any hesitation, to just factor, because it's a good use of your time. So we would think that something like number one, most students would have within seconds. That most would say, hey, I'm looking for factors of 28 that add to be 11. Those are, hey, 7 and 4. Both are positive in there. We expect many to hesitate on number two, but ultimately come up with the right answer. So the way I do it, and please, this is not meant to do anything other than to say factoring is important. We are not getting you to look at anything new and try something new. We know you know how to factor. And so I look at this as, hey, factors of 20 that subtract to be 8. And I think, oh, 10 and 2. So in my mind, I know that I need to get a 10 out and a 2 out. Well, I'm going to get a 10 by taking 2 times 5 and a 2 with the other 2 there. It's a natural split up of the 4 and the 5. I need a negative 10 coming out and a positive 2 coming out. We think 3 should be super fast. You'll see this one a lot. Y minus 4, y plus 4, a difference of 2 perfect squares. We think that you can handle something like 4, where you recognize that there's a greatest common factor that absolutely needs to be pulled out first in order for us to see this properly. And then it's right back to one like number 3, where we get a nice d minus 6, d plus 6. Okay, we're going to see some with variables in both positions. We don't want you to be daunted by that. We want the hardest thing for you to think of is, hey, I need factors of 42 that are 11 apart. And again, you may be doing something differently. Guess and check's a good way. There's also where you expand to 4 terms and factor by grouping. Whatever you are fast at is what we want you to do. And so I know that the factors of 42 that are going to work, it's got to be an obscure one, because I start thinking about the normal ones, they don't work. But let me try 3. 3 will go into 42. Oh yeah, 14 times. That's my guy. So I need a 14 working with the 7. No problem. The variables don't daunt us. We just know there's a z in the first position and a y in the second. And I need a 14, so I need a 2 with the y, so I get my 14. And then the corresponding number would be 3, but that's the 3 that's right here as well. And so I would want a negative 14 and a positive 3. We need you to be able to come up with it pretty quickly, like I mentioned before. So really do a good self-analysis on your graphing ability. I'm sorry, not your graphing ability, your factoring ability. So here, hopefully you see you can pull out a 4, and you're left with 4a squared plus 3a minus 10. Factors of 40 that are 3 apart are, what would that be? 8 and 5. 8 times 5 is 40. Well, good. I need an 8 out. That's only going to happen if I have a 4a, and then I need an a. Here's my 8, and here's my 2 times 5 is 10. Perfect. So what do I need to be bigger? I need the 8 to be bigger. So I need my positive to go there and my negative to go there, since we have a positive in the middle. That's what we're looking at doing work like this. We need you to factor things that are quadratic in form and not be daunted. Hey, 6 times 5 is 30. Factors of 30 that subtract to be 7 are 10 and 3. Perfect. So I need a 10 and a 3 out. Well, that means this is going to have to be a 3s squared, and this is going to have to be a 2s squared. Remember what I needed, a 3 and a 10, so I need a 3 and a 10. That's going to give me my 10 right there, the 5 times the 2. And then what else do I need? Well, I need the right signs. my 10 needs to be positive, and my 3 needs to be negative. Hopefully you see why we're talking about a 10. We think at this point it is all good because you've done it in 2 classes, but we're never really sure. Here you can factor out a 2 and you're left with 12x squared plus 13x plus 3. Then we would think, hey, what are the factors of 36 that add to be 13? And a 9 and a 4 would. So to get a 9 out, got to think about that. I would have to involve a 3. And if it involves a 3, it involves a 4. So there's my 9 and there's my 4. Why is it a 9? Because that 3x is going to hit that 3. Both are positive, and I'm done. Okay. Now, I hope in this that you're not being too daunted with how quickly I'm going through them. It's only just to model, what the answer is. You really need to evaluate your own skill set that you brought in and utilize that. So as we look at this one, notice that we can pull out a 7 and a c from everybody, and we're left with a nice straightforward one, c squared minus 4cd minus 5. This one should be fast because you know the factors of 5 that subtract to be 4. Just 5 and 1. Okay, in order to get that. And I apologize, this was a d squared. There needs to be d's here. I did not mean to drop those d's. And then here we factor out the x squared and we look at something that is simple in nature and realize there are no factors of 17 that add to be 3, so we're done just pulling out the x squared. Pull out the 12x squared and be left with x plus 12. We're not triggered to do anything more than what's there. And then this should be fast too. We're not daunted by the 2 variables, and m goes in the first position and n goes in the second. Factors of 18 that are 3 apart are 6 and 3. I need a minus 6 and a plus 3, and we're finished. So there actually is a lot more of the more straightforward ones that don't have a number in the front position for most of the problems, but we do want you to be well versed with factoring in general. So just thought I would do that page for you as it may help.